Hi crocheters of the world! In this tutorial I want to present you a stitch that I love so much. It's the star stitch or the daisy stitch. Of course you know it well because there are so many tutorials in English of this beautiful stitch. And there are so many, not many, but a few variation from one to another. This that I want to present in this tutorial is mine. Actually, I take a little bit of there and here and I create my version, let's say, of the star stitch. And I know that one of the variation that I found here on YouTube was worked with the star stitch, one row of star stitch and one row of half double crochets. Then I saw another variation with instead of half double crochet with single crochet and so on. This one is a variation that I really loved because it's worked only with the star stitch or daisy stitch. So only star stitch and or daisy stitch. Can you believe? It's really easy, and can you see it? It's wonderful stitch. You can create so nice and soft texture. You can work so many beautiful projects as a hat or a scarf or maybe a cardigan and so on and so forth. And there is something else that I want to tell you about this stitch. Not only this stitch, but now I am talking about this stitch. Depends, so the texture that you will have for your project depends on the size, hook size that you use, and of course the yarn that you use, that you combine with the hook. So it's very important this. If you want to obtain a very soft and nice texture scarf, of course you will work the project with a larger size of the crochet hook. That's the size that it's written on the label of the yarn. Okay, so this is my advice. Of course, if you want to work a what can I say, a bag. Actually I have a project of a bag, bag on my Italian channel. I will let you the link and so you can see it and figure out what I am talking about here. So I work it that for a bag, as I said, you have to work it with a smaller size because you want a very thick texture. Okay, so that's it. Now I just want to explain it to you, this beautiful stitch. So here I am making a scarf, very narrow. I want to make it narrow but very long. I really adore this kind of scarves that you can roll over around the neck 2 or 3 times. I like them. So I'm making a kind of scarf like this, and I am working on a slouch beret too, but of course I will show you in another tutorial how to make the slouch beret if you will be interested in. Okay, now for the stitch, for the stitch you need a multiple of 2 plus 5, which means that we go on with an even number. Any kind of even number is divisible by 2. I think it's by, but you can correct me, please correct me. And so you can put a even number, and then at the end, and when you say okay, that's enough for my project, you add 5 more chains. Okay, so I will go on with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So for the swatch that I want to work now, 14 are just well. So 5 more now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I am ready to begin my star stitch. So for the first star, so each of our stars are made with loops, 6 loops, okay, so are composed by 6 loops. Now 1 loop I have on my hook, so I will go on and take loops for my next 5 chains to have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we have 6 loops on our hook, and we can just finish with our first star stitch. So yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure, and here we have our first star stitch. Okay, now for the second, from the second on, we will work the star stitch like this. Now we have the first loop here. The second loop, we want to pull the second loop from the chain, the secure chain of the star stitch just made. So pull up a loop. We have 2 loops on the hook. Now insert the hook around the loop, the last loop of the star stitch just made, this one. Pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. And the 4th loop into the chain that we worked the last loop of the star stitch just made. Okay, now we have 4. Okay, for the 2 more loops we will use the next 2 chains, unworked chains. Okay, so 1 and 2. Okay, so we have 6 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. Now we have 2 star stitch. Okay, now again we have a loop on the hook, insert the hook into the chain, secure chain of the last star stitch that you conclude, that you finished, and pull up a loop. 2 loops on the hook. Now around the last loop of the last star stitch made, 3 loops on the hook, into the chain where you work the last loop of the last star stitch that you made, 4, and now into the next 2 chains to complete with 2 more loops. 6 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. Okay, now we just have to continue on until the end of this row. So 2, then into the last loop, 3, into the chain that we worked the last loop, 4, and for the 5th and 6th loops into the next 2 chains. 6 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1 to secure. Now into the chain the 2nd loop, into the last loop the 3rd loop, into the chain that we worked the last loop the 4th, and into the next 2 chains the 6th, the 5th, and the 6th loop. Okay, now 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1 to secure. Okay, now go on. And this is the first row, but the 2nd row will be the row that we will repeat for the entire project. 3, then 4, and into the very next 2 chains, 5th and the 6th loops. Now 6 loop on our hook, yarn over, pull through all. Work loosely. 2, 3, 4, and into the next 2, the last 2 loops to complete with 6 loops. Yarn over, pull through all. This was my last star stitch, and I still have one chain, and this is okay because I will chain one, and into the last I will work a double crochet. And this is the rule for this my variation of the star stitch. We will end each row with a double crochet, okay, and we will begin each row with chain 3. So chain 3, turn your work. Now I just want to show you something because it's very, very important. What we have here is our star stitch. Let us count them. So we have 1. Look at the chains, the secure chains, okay? So count the secure chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we have 7 star stitches. Now, the important thing is to count them at the end of each round to be sure that you still have 7, so you don't lose your stitches, okay? Very important. Now that I show you how to count them, we can go on and work our second row, the row that I said will be the repeating row. Okay, so again, and these are the star stitches. When we turn our work, we have the star stitches. Now we have them, now we have them on the right side of the chain, of the secure chain. Of course, we have the star stitch and the secure chain, star stitch and the secure chain, so on the right side. Now when we turn our work, we have the secure chain and the star stitch, okay, not the we have, I don't know how to explain it to you. We have the secure chain, and on the left side we have the star stitch, okay? It's important for you to understand how to work the next and all the rows. So this is the very important, the most important row of the pattern because it's the repeating row. So chain 3 and turn. Now 1 loop we have on the hook. Insert the hook into the second chain, pull up a loop into the third chain, and pull up a loop. And now it's okay, we have our first 3 chains, but we need 3 more to obtain our 6. Now into the double crochet, insert the hook, pull up a loop. Now we have 4. For the next 2 loops that we need to complete our first star stitch, we will insert the hook into the chain, secure chain of the last star stitch of the previous row, and into the loop, this last loop of the last stitch, star stitch. And now we have 6, okay? Yarn over, pull through all. And this is how, it's very important because this is how you have to begin each of your row, okay? So that's why it's very important. Okay, so each of the rows for the entire project. I will just want to zoom in a little bit. Okay, now chain 3, and we have our first 3 loops. Then into the double crochet, the 4th, into the chain, secure chain of the star stitch, the 5th, and into the loop of the star stitch, this one. On the top we have the 6th. Okay, now to continue on, we work like this. We have the first, now into the secure chain of the star stitch just made, the 2nd. Then the same thing that we worked for the first star stitches, no, first row. So into the last loop and into the space that we worked the last loop of the first star stitch. Now we have 4. For the next 2, the same thing, into the chain 1 of the next star stitch of the previous row and into the loop that we have here of the same star stitch of the previous row. And now we have 6, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1. Now again, insert the hook. So actually we work 4 from the 4 loops from the star stitch that we just completed, okay, of the row that we are going on, that we are working on. Then for the next 2, as you can see here, 1, 2, we work into the star stitch of the previous row, the last 2 loops, okay, that we need, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay, so insert the hook into the chain, this is the second one, then into the last loop, 3, into the stitch that you work, the loop that you work, the last loop, 4. Now we go on into the previous row and we insert the hook into the chain, secure chain of the star stitch. We have the 5th loop on our hook and into the loop of the star stitch, and we have the 6th loop on our hook, and we have all loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all, and chain 1 to secure. Okay, and we just have to continue on like this. So it's that easy. Okay, now into the secure chain and into the loop, the upper loop that you can see here. So it's the chain, secure chain, and this is the upper, oops, sorry, I was out of the camera, into the upper loop. So chain and the upper loop, it's chain and the upper loop, top loop actually, maybe better. So into the chain, into the last loop where you worked the last loop, we have 4. Now we go on into the previous row, into the chain, secure chain, and into the top loop of the star stitch of the previous row, and here we are. Now again the same thing where we work it into the secure chain and into the, I usually take 2 loops from here, but it's okay. Pull through 2 loops, not just 1, but it's okay, you can pull through 1 loop if you want to. Okay, so I'm working my last one. So here it is, my last star stitch. I insert the hook into the secure chain and into the loop here. Okay, 6 loops on my hook, pull through 2, pull through all, sorry, and chain 1 to secure. And of course yarn over and into the first chain here that you can see, insert the hook. So we have of course the 3 chains. Okay, so into the first here just work your double crochet, final double crochet. So we always finish the row with a double crochet, and here it is. Isn't it easy? Now again I just want to show you one more time. Chain 3 and turn. Can you see the loops? Now insert the hook into the second chain and into the third chain. We have 3. Now the 4th into the double crochet, and then into the single, into the chain, secure chain, and into the last loop, the top loop of the star stitch. Okay, chain 1 to secure and go on 2, then 3, 4. For the next 2, insert the hook into the secure chain of the star stitch of the previous row and around the top loop on the top of the star stitch of the previous row, and pull through 2, pull through all, sorry, and chain 1 to secure, and again another 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull through all, chain 1 to secure. Again, I want to explain it to you for the last time. So the chain, the 1 loop we have on the hook, insert the hook into the chain, secure chain of the star stitch that we just finished. 2 loops on our hook. Now around the last loop of the star stitch that we just finished, 3 loop on our hook. Into the loop that we worked the last loop of the star stitch that we just finished, and we have 4 loops on our hook. Now we go on and pull the 2 last loops from the star stitch here of the previous row. So here into the second row, into the secure chain of the star stitch of the previous row, and into the top loop, this one. And now we have 6. Yarn over, pull through all 6 and chain 1 to secure. Okay, so I hope now it's all clear. Yes, of course, when I work like this without an explanation, maybe it's difficult to understand where I am working my loops. But I hope with the explanation it's clear. So into the chain, into the last loop where I worked the last loop, and into the secure chain of the star stitch of the previous row, and into the top loop. Okay, and now I finished my third row. Yarn over, don't forget to into the chain here, try to insert the hook through 2 loops, so to have 2 loops to work your double crochet. So don't forget to work your double crochet, because this double crochet gives you a nice and straight border. Okay. It's really, really beautiful and easy. I think it's the easier, for me at least, is the easier variation of the star stitch, because we work only star stitches and it's nice and soft and easy. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials. Bye bye.